Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I am recording script number 1000 for you guys, and I would not still be here if it weren't for you. Thank you for watching. Watch out and take care. The opening scene features a magician, Eclipso, who is exiting a theater after his performance. As soon as he steps outside, he's ambushed by a superpowered individual who renders him unconscious before taking him to a secret hideout. Sometime later, Eclipso awakens to find himself restrained in a stretcher, with his body connected to several pieces of modern equipment. He also notices another superhero, Brasero, lying on a nearby stretcher. Brasero's body has become a skeleton, as his blood and fiery powers seem to have been drained for some sort of experiment. Oh wait, that's not Brasero, that's Skeleto, and he's just fine. This sets Eclipso into a panic, and he screams for help, but no one can hear him. The scene then cuts to our protagonist, Moro, a police officer who is seen going through his daily routine at his apartment. While feeding his pet cat, he receives a call from work, assigning him to investigate a case. Following this, he gets ready and goes to the scene, where he meets another investigating officer, Schaltzmann. Cecile informs him about the incident. Some superhuman teens had set a nightclub on fire after they were denied entry. Moro then instructs other officers to summon the forensic team, but he soon learns that they've already conducted the required inspection and left. This means that he's once again late for work. Later, at the police station, the superintendent calls Moro and scolds him for his recent complacency. He then introduces Cecile as his new partner, whom he'll be working together with. Through their conversation, we learn that Moro used to work as a leader of the Pack Royal, a superhero team consisting of Gigaman, Callista, and Henry. Henry, the best superhero name of them all. However, he stopped working with them after the tragic demise of Gigaman, and the team eventually disassembled. Since then, Moro started working as a special officer to apprehend the superhumans. In the past few years, the crime rate had dropped to almost zero, and everyone thought that the superhumans had left the city. But now, the cases are rising again. So, the superintendent wants both Moro and Cecile to work together. Later that day, Moro and Cecile receive news about another similar incident. They, along with the police team, immediately rush to the scene, where they find out that a teenage boy is terrifying the entire school with his fiery power. Sensing the urgency of the situation, Cecile instructs the team to prepare their weapons for intervention, but Moreau opts for a more peaceful approach. He then disarms himself and slowly approaches the boy, while convincing him that nobody is his enemy. He manages to engage the boy in his words and takes him into custody. The officers also confiscate some serum tubes from the boy that granted him his powers. Just then, before departing the scene, Moreau notices Gigaman's nervous daughter, Lily, who also seems to have a superpower. However, her mother takes her home before he can talk to her. On the other hand, a young guy named Ishmael is seen selling the serum tubes secretly to the teens. Upon inhaling this serum, the teens gain superpowers which they use for fun. Back to Moreau, he goes to visit Henry, who has a superpower to disappear and teleport in the blink of an eye. Since he's ill, Moreau goes to feed him on a daily basis. He tells him about the ongoing incidents in the city and asks if he can identify the source. Henry, who is seen secretly studying these matters, tells him about the disappearance of Brasero. Elsewhere, a guy named Rudy goes to meet Naja, the mastermind who experiments on the superpowers and prepares the serum. He informs him about Lily and her superpowers, and in response, Naja instructs him to gather more information about her. Rudy obliges and immediately begins stalking Lily. Nobody told him to stalk her exactly, but he'll take any excuse he can get. Back at the police station, Moreau receives a call from Henry, who gives him more information about Brasero. He explains that after being released from the prison, Brasero started working at a restaurant in Paris. He also joined a volleyball club, which is run by Callista. The scene then cuts to Callista, who is seen coaching her students regarding the game. During this, she notices that one of her students is behaving strangely. She stares at him for a moment and has a vision of him getting beaten. As a result, she approaches the boy and warns him to stay away from whatever illegal act he's into. Here, we learn that Callista has a superpower to see the future, to some extent. Not long after, she's visited by Moreau, who tells her about the ongoing predicament. He emphasizes that they must apprehend the mastermind behind all of this, or else the teens will destroy the entire city. Moreau then asks for her help, but she rudely turns him down. Soon after, Moreau and Cecile receive a call from the medical lab, where the forensic expert is examining a body. Once there, Moreau Moreau notices a tattoo and recognizes the dead man as Brasero. This makes him realize that someone has drained each and every drop of his blood, and now that person is using it to prepare the super serum. In order to track down the mastermind, Moreau and Cecile start investigating more details about the people who buy and sell these serums. Amidst this, they go to the hospital to interrogate a teen named Amin, who is involved in the earlier nightclub fire incident. At first, the boy is reluctant to disclose any information, but when Cecile intimidates him, he reveals Ishmael was the one who sold him the serum. Upon learning that the police are after Ishmael, Naja immediately instructs all of his men to track him down, as he possesses a lot of his super serums. But before they can do so, Moreau and Cecile locate Ishmael in his apartment and begin chasing him through the building. At one point, Ishmael hides in a grocery store, but the officers cleverly manage to arrest him. They then bring him to the police station, where they try to get information from him, but the latter doesn't utter a single word. The same evening, Moreau and Cecile are working late at the police station. While Moreau goes to a nearby restaurant to buy some food, he gets a call from Henry, the best of them all. He informs him about the disappearance of another superhero, Eclipso, who possesses a superpower to render people blind. At the same time, Naja's henchmen attack the police station in order to rescue Ishmael. Upon hearing the commotion, Moreau rushes back to the station and discovers that the assailants have blinded all the inspectors. This makes him realize that they've extracted Calypso's blood too. Moreau cautiously walks upstairs to stop the assailants, only to see that they've blinded Cecile as well. They push her off the top floor and run away with Ishmael. But right before she meets her demise, Moreau runs towards her and touches her. As a consequence, Cecile floats in midair instead of striking the ground. This shockingly reveals that Moreau is also a superhero. Well, yeah, I mean, he worked with Henry, for God's sake, who has an ability to manipulate gravity and make things fly. Turns out he discovered his superpowers during the time when he used to work with the Pack Royal. Meanwhile, Ishmael is taken to Naja, who orders his men to execute him. In a desperate bid to save himself, Ishmael reveals that he witnessed another superhero, Moreau, but the gang kills him anyway. Following this, Naja instructs his men to abduct Moreau and bring him here. Later, one of his henchmen arrives at Callista's school and persuades the students into inhaling the new serum.
You don't have to tell me twice. I'm a stupid teen.
A few of them oblige, but as soon as they do so, they pass away. The henchman then calls Naja and informs him about the new serum's test review. On the other hand, Lily's mother comes crying to the police station and tells Moreau that her daughter has gone missing. It turns out that Naja has kidnapped Lily, and he wants to make super serum by extracting her blood. Hearing this, Moreau immediately rushes to Lily's apartment in hopes of finding clues. There, he meets Callista, who tells him about her student's death after inhaling the serum. Now that she finally knows the seriousness of the situation, she agrees to help him. However, Moreau doesn't want her assistance anymore and tells her to go away. After she leaves, he begins searching the house and eventually finds a piece of paper in a trash bin that contains a phone number. Moreau then tries to find more information, but he's suddenly attacked by Naja's henchmen. They administer him with a sedative, rendering him unconscious. Outside, Callista notices Cecile heading towards the apartment. She stares at her and has a vision of Naja's men gunning her down. In order to prevent the tragedy, she rushes towards Cecile and makes her hide in the car. Shortly after, they watch the henchmen carrying the unconscious Moreau in their vehicle. Cecile decides to intervene, but Callista, who has seen the future, suggests that they wait for the right moment. Meanwhile, Moreau's hand touches the van, and despite his unconscious state, his power prevents the vehicle from moving. This scares the gang members, so they shoot 3 bullets into his chest and throw him out of the vehicle before fleeing. Fortunately, Moreau's power causes the bullets to leave his body automatically. Bulletproof is a much better superpower than that floaty shit. In the next scene, the girls take him to Henry's place where they treat his wounds before letting him rest. Later, while conversing, Cecile inquires about the true identity of Moreau. In response, Callista and Henry reveal that they met him during one of their missions. Their leader, Gigaman, was so impressed by Moreau's powers that he made him an integral part of their group. The 4 of them carried out several missions together and achieved a lot of success. But one day, Moro failed to use his power properly, which resulted in Gigaman's demise. Ever since then, he gave up on his powers and chose to live a new, normal life. After these revelations, Cecile hands over the contact number she found from Moreau's pocket. Henry checks it in his computer and learns that it belongs to Elizabeth, a psychologist specializing in superhuman abilities. It's revealed that she secretly exposes her clients to nausea so that he could use their blood to create super serum. Subsequently, Henry visits Elizabeth's Swift's clinic, feigning illness, and covertly plants a mic in her cabin. He then begins eavesdropping on her conversations, while Callista stalks her, physically. Amidst this, they learn that Naja is himself a superhuman who has a special ability to hypnotize people. His parents were worried and kept on forbidding him from using his powers, but the psychopath grew frustrated and killed them instead. After that, he contacted Elizabeth and forced her into working for him. The scene then cuts to a few days later, where Callista tails Elizabeth to Naja's hideout, finally uncovering the location. She immediately relays this information to Henry and Cecile, and the trio starts comprehending their next move. During this, Callista learns that the police department has also come to know about the whereabouts of Naja, and that her superintendent is planning to dispatch a heavy infantry police force. She speculates that there will be bloodshed if the police get to Naja first. As a result, the trio decides to set off to Naja's place before them and rescue Lily. But by this time, Naja has already created some serum using Lily's blood containing electric power. In the next scene, Henry, Callista, and Cecile infiltrate the hideout and begin fighting Naja's henchmen, who are now equipped with the new electric power. Amidst this fierce battle, Naja tries to flee with Lily, but Moreau arrives out of nowhere and stops him. As they fight, Cecile takes Lily away from the scene. Seeing this, Naja inhales several serums and proceeds to chase them. At this point in time, Moreau realizes that an overdose of serum will soon result in an explosion. As a result, he immediately attacks Naja from behind and flies up in the air. Just as he expected, Naja is unable to control his excess powers, causing him to explode. When the other team members witness this, they worry that Moreau also passed away in the explosion, but to their delight, he casually returns with only a few injuries. Once the commotion is settled, all the news channels cover the news about the new superhero and name him Titan. In the aftermath, the Royal Pack resumes their duty of safeguarding the city from the superhumans with ill intentions. Cecile presents Moreau with a superhero mask, encouraging him to proudly embrace his role as a leader. The movie ends with the pair sharing a passionate kiss, hinting at the beginning of their romantic relationship, but only if he's wearing the mask. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.